Hello. Yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone. Just a sec. We're just going live on. Yeah. So, uh, thank you. Thank you for joining. And today we have an interesting session for you. So, today we will be going through zero party data. So, zero party data is a very upcoming in the world of like cookie-less data, and with the cookie being targeted, and there is like a iOS update with the privacy concerns, and also there is a shift toward the zero party data. So, we will be discussing that, and let's get started, I think. So yeah, cool. So yeah, so in this webinar we will cover how to know your customers, and how to get your customer, like really understand your customers, and then how to wow your customers. And basically in this basically what has happened in the industry is there is has been a paradigm shift. So paradigm, earlier the paradigm used to be more about the channel centric, and every channel used to have its own network, that kind of its own channel, and then it's a like a own customer. So if for a omni-channel setup, or like for any scale, social media to this, to a call center to this, and like even SMS, email, so everything used to be have its own customers, and used to be very like a single, or like you can say in silos, the things used to move. Now the things have started become more customer centric, and it's a paradigm shift for the businesses also, and for the customers as well. So over there, the idea is to hold everything should revolve around customers. And earlier, the technology was also some part a limitation. Now the technology is also being sorted, and we can create that ecosystem, or like a single view of a customer with CDPs and all, and have a single concentrated view of the customer, and then everything around that. So that's the paradigm shift. And the need for zero party data also rises because of the solution based approach. So in the real sense of the marketing, like the customer is never buying the product, they are always buying the solution. So nobody goes on a website and say that I will go for a like a filter of orange, or like I will put this kind of a color, this kind of a size, this kind of a thing. People want something to wear, or like there is an occasion, there is some kind of preference, or there is some kind of a glamorous look. So it's not it's never been about a like what you want, like what the product attributes sort of. And currently the whole e-commerce ecosystem has been around like categories, or it's been around like you filter through categories or through this thing, and customer has to navigate the maze. Like it's the onus is on the customer. And there is a better approach where we can ask customer that what you prefer, and we can move from there. So it's mostly we take the preference of the customer, and then we move toward that. And maybe customer wants to buy a ring for a occasion, or there is a like someone wants to look like prepare for a party or event, or someone wants to like get a makeover for an office, or there is some problem around weight loss or acne, or like any other concern which they want to solve. So for those kind of things, customer wants that this is my problem, or this is what I want. Now how can you help me? So that's the starting point, and I think that's a fantastic approach in the terms of like rethinking the whole paradigm, that you start from the customer first, you look at the what's the customer wants, and then you move from there to like how we can improve that experience. Now only part in that we don't know, like if the customer visits on the website, how we'll know that they are looking for this kind of product, or that kind of a range, or those kind of things. So that becomes a challenge. And zero party data like solves that problem only, that customer is willing to share that data if it helps them, if you ask nicely, if you guide them to the right product, if you use that data to know more about your customer, tailor their experience, they are more than happy to share that data. But if you use the data and doesn't help them, then they are more or less willingly to share this data, and then the whole privacy debates open up. But if it makes their life better, customer can tell, or like open to share their information. And over here, that like because of this problem, there is a demand for zero party data. So zero party data, it's like so this is little bit technical term, like zero party and this, but how we define like what's zero party data. So zero party data is mostly there has been from evolution, like there was a first party data and third party data. So these were the two datas mostly, and then there was like second party. So first party is my own website data or whatever I have collected on my website. Third party is either a bot data or a network data or anything which is not owned by me per se, or customer has not interacted with my brand. They have given to some like an insurance company or some kind of a media publishing house or someone, and I am pulling that data or I'm leasing that list and using that data either on the customer side of things and either on this. So and second party is mostly around the aggregated data, where there's more like individual data. But third party, mostly data available is the third party, which is the ad networks, and first party is which is your website or your store. Now zero party is that first party and zero party. So what's the difference between these two? So first party is the customer willingly give that, like the, and you can also infer that data in the terms of buying experience, what's their address, buying location, or based on behavior also. Like customer might have not given that data explicitly for first party. It can be like their browsing history or their behavior or what kind of products they watched, seen, or what kind of product they have added to the cart. So those all comes under like your first party data. Zero party data is that whatever customer has willingly given themselves, like it's basically the first party. Zero party is like communication preferences, their like goals, their buying mostly around their whatever they have shared willingly. So in the, like the from a definition, it's like they have shared. First party is that they have not explicitly shared, but they have been made to share in the date, like or due to the website structure, that login information or this. So those comes under like the first party data. But if they have willingly shared anything more than that, or if you asked for anything more than that, then it comes under a zero party data. And there are a lot of benefits, like in the terms of customer lifetime value, in the terms of better customer experience, also in the terms of personalization. The experience also improves, so the conversions also improve, so the ROI also improves, the profit margins also improves. And there is a lot of learning, like we will be covering in the webinar. So there will be a lot of learning once we use this zero party data. And the main concern that the brands have, that people don't share that data. And we found that, and there have been multiple studies around that, that it's not true, that if you ask nicely and you provide value, so customers are more than willing to share that data. So 83%, like we have some stats, but mostly more or less that apprehension is if you're not doing it nicely, then customer might not be willing to share the data. But if we are asking nicely and we are like using the data to improve their life or improve their customer experience or improve their buying experience, they are more than willing to share that data. So that's a myth, that customer doesn't want to share my data, their data. So this now in this we start with the Sephora because we wanted to showcase that how big and the best of the personalization brands do that. And then we will go into the nitty gritty of the framework. But the idea is to look at the Sephora, and then we will like dissect what they are doing right, and then how it fits into our framework. Basically how we have structured, or how we use internally our structure, is that we break it up into like three sections. So one is like know me. Know me is like whatever you are doing to know the customer, gathering data, collecting data. Second is get me. Get me is more on the research side of things. So you understand the data, you try to understand the user, you try to understand the persona, and then how you add value to the user, like how you add to their experience, how to add to their communication, how you add to their reward. So this is basically how we structure, and these are the standard proprietary framework what we have for zero party data. And we think everything, like for a new brand, everything is structured around that. So for Sephora specifically, how you look, so they are running a beauty quiz on their website. So that's a part of Nomi. So they do a fantastic job of asking a lot of questions, and it's not upfront that you go on the website, you get like 20 questions. It's nothing like that. It's like at every step, if you talk to a customer care bot, there will be some queries. If you go on the website, there will be a quiz. If you go on their loyalty program, there will be some questions. So it's not never to overrun the user or like ask too many questions. It's always done very nicely, like one step at a time. And this is like their beauty quiz, where they are looking at the beauty information. And then they have know me preference date quiz, where it's more about like what's your buying preference, what's your skin type, what's your color, and this kind of what kind of products you like and what kind of your preference. So they have a different quiz for that. They have a different quiz for beauty. They have a different quiz for maybe like from a seasonal perspective also, or if they have a new category also. So they have a different buying guides also. So it's not just one guide. They have multiple quizzes. And they also collect data on the chatbot, which if you ask that I need help or I need query or I'm not able to decide between these two products, so they also help you with that. And that kind of information comes into them. Once they have this no information, then they have these kind of functionality also, where it improves your experience. Like if you give them photo or you upload your personal photo on the website, then they will give you a virtual try on. So you can have your photo, you can try out different shades, you can have a look. So that's a like a great example of a using zero party data to enhance the customer buying experience. So it's basically using this experience to enhance the buying experience of the user, like using the data or the information shared by the user to enhance their experience. Now, once we have the data, we can also go into the wow me rewards area. So rewards is basically, if we are sharing that information, then we can always give them something more than this. So it's not that plain vanilla solution. It's more customized, it's more personalized, and we are providing that kind of, even for the birthday gifts or anything like that. So it's to wow the customer. And then there is always like personalized email, and there are like multiple studies and everyone in the terms of like, if you customize your emails, and not just the name, like name is very mostly used, but apart from name also, if you use like multiple touch point. If someone has asked for a sleeping a blanket or like a mattress brand, so if someone has given that I am looking for my like sciatic pain, or like I am looking for my like a sleep, or if I'm looking for my kid, so if you are able to personalize that information and you can give the exact time kind of communication to that user, so definitely the open rate will be higher, the conversion will be higher, and the click rate, so everything improves. And it's also reduces the noise, it also reduces it's like sharpen the targeting. And the best part is that customer on themselves has given that information, so there is no misfires in this. There is nothing like that you inferred that information and you went somewhere wrong. If someone has said that I have this it can't go wrong, and it's very much because the customer willingly have shared that data. It might be true, it might be false, but still you use that data to send the communication to them. So it's always works, and it tend to have a better impact, and it helps the customer also. So then there is a how you introduce the zero party data. Now coming to this, this is zero party data is part of our broad LTV framework, where we have this communication maximization, where we look at the we have product value maximization, we have customer value, then communication and optimization. Like these are our 4 steps, and everything we do at RetainUP falls under this. And this is how we help brands to become more reliant on like more profitable and double their customer lifetime value. And this like zero party data falls under customer value optimization. So in that we look at the whatever customer have, so segmentation, zero party data, what kind of information, and then we use that into communication to maximize the impact of the communication. So it's mostly done from that perspective. Now coming to this framework, so zero party data framework. So as we said, like know me. So know me is basically everything you are doing to know the customer. Now there are 2 things in that. One is how to know me and what to know. So what kind of queries we will be asking, and what will be the mediums or the channels we will be using to get that information. Now like in the Sephora's case and this, the idea is not to overwhelm the customer. So you ask limited information at the limited time, relevant information at the relevant time. The idea is to not go do everything at one go one by one. So that's for know me. Once you have that information, and most of the brands, like 90% of the brands, even if they collect the information, I have not seen a good implementation of that. And rarely it's more like that they have a form running on the website for 6 months and it's been collecting data, but that data, nothing has been done on that data. And I understand, like, that's the challenge of execution also, that's the challenge of data, like a volume wise also, scale also, because once you start collecting, then also like after 2 months or 3 months you will have substantial data to start doing something. But still, lot of brands struggle at the implementation stage or the research stage. So idea is, even if you have this like a small sample, or even if you have like 100 surveys, then also 100 results, or like 100 quantitative data, then also analyze that. And we typically break up insights into like four, like whatever we can use for marketing, whatever we can use for customer research, and whatever you can use for enhancing the product, like in the future product research development. And then there is a wow me factor, like third step is wow me. So wow me is whatever we are doing. So get me is like behind the scene, customer doesn't know much about that, and it's mostly what we are doing to improve their this thing, like understand more about the customer. But wow me is all about what we are doing to enhance that experience or use that information to add value to the customer. So that is wow is like front facing, and get is like a internal team perspective. And in wow, it's always about like what we can do for experience, what we can do for communication, and what we can do for rewards. So these are the three buckets for wow. And starting with the Nomi framework. So in Nomi, if we go one by one, so Nomi is whatever we can do to know the customer. And in this, we typically ask for three strategies. So we have given like 7 8 options over here in the R framework, but idea is to go with three. And first roll out three which you feel most relevant for your brand. And in the terms of performance, I would say like social media or anything outside the channel is not that important, but collection is, it should not go that the idea is not to overwhelm the customer, and also not overwhelm the brand also. Like so if we collect like 20 data points, then also it becomes confusing for us to segment that user, understand something about that, or like analyze that data. So idea is to start with three. And in our experience, we have seen most success with opt-ins and like quizzes and surveys on the email. So these are what we have seen the most success. Then if you get to a like a bigger scale, then you can always go into loyalty program. And like social media um, is also relevant, but it's very tough to get that data back into the CDP. So social media, because if you run a poll on Facebook, so it's very tough to get that data imported back into your system, so and map it rightly with the customer. So social media polls we tend to do at the last stage just for validation, but rest we try to do on the brand, because the data flows very nicely within the ecosystem of the on the website, on the Shopify, on the Klaviyo, or on all the partners can get that information. Social media tend to have that walled garden kind of a mindset, so they are not open with their data. And in the terms of apart from that, out of these seven, I would say to start with three. And in the terms of type of data, so type of data is also, we don't want to overwhelm the customers. So idea is to focus on three. And now we will go one by one, but the idea is to not the data, like three doesn't mean like three questions. Three means like three kind of information or three kind of clarity you are building. Either you are building clarity around the needs, or you are building a clarity around the concern or goals, or you are building clarity around the preferences, or the clarity around the personality type or interest or history or content. But idea is to, so that's why we called it data set, that what kind of data set we are trying to build from this activity. And so needs is basically goal based. Needs is basically what customer needs in the terms of I need this, or this is my problem, or this is like acne or weight loss or this. Goal and concern is also more or less the same, but its need is more immediate or more urgent. Concern and goals tend to be like long term in that sense. Then there is a preference. So preference is mostly around what kind of size I have, or what kind of color of skin, or what kind of like dye, wet, or like long hair, small hair, or what kind of extensions, or what kind of look. So preferences basically that how I want to buy, or if I have a like petrol or those kind of bifurcations are in this preferences section. And personality is more around the user behavior or user this thing that I want funny designs versus loud, or this is my preference, or it's part of a preference, like everything is part of preference. But idea is personality is more around like your quirks and how you it's depends from niche to niche. It's not dependent on what kind of this from a it totally depends from brand to brand. So but we have divided into needs, concerns, preferences, personality, interest, and then we try to get that data into the system. And once we have that, we also recommend like going only after 3 kind of a data collection points and not going for more than that. And next once you have this implemented, the idea is to go to Get Me framework. So Get Me framework is basically where we look at the marketing research. So once we have that information, so marketing wise, we can always use that information. So idea is to first create the customer part. So in the customer, we look at the profitable segments. So supposedly you have bifurcating the data by looking at the preferences, you try to figure out, and by looking at the purchase history, you figured out that my repeat buyers are from this region, or my repeat buyers are mostly like have this kind of a age group, or even like a preference. It can be like a job title, it can be around a like all my best customers drive sort of a like a car, or it can have a different kind of. And typically what happens that once we have the preference like that on our website, most of the concern is weight loss concern, or on our website this is the main concern, and this is coming from these kind of users. So those kind of things, once you have that clarity, you can have a better persona of the user, and then you try to create that segment and you try to feed that to your acquisition system. So you try to make a lookalike of that. And so instead of creating a lookalike of everyone of your customer, each of your customers, you create lookalike of only of your best customer, and then feed it back into the lookalike audiences. Then there is, once you have that, then for qualitative research, there is always this thing that we try to figure out why customer abandoned the cart. Like these kind of questions are very tough to get from any other medium, and it's highly insightful. And we have even if you don't do any action on that, it's highly unlikely, but still if you can get that kind of information, that why people have stopped buying from me, if why my card are not converting, or if why, what's the reason for subscription cancellations, or what's the main reason for sign up, like what kind of audience I'm attracting. Is it people, like for mattress example, people are buying for the family, or for the like a single, or for the gifting use, or for personal use, or if they are buying for the kid, or for the family. So it's very much you never know these answers till you run these kind of surveys. And these are the main marketing insights which have a high impact on the performance. And then there is always like customer, which we have discussed, and then there is a product development. So product development is most around you have that information. Now how we can use that information to create a better version of product, like a newer version of the product, or like a new benefits or anything like that. So that's also comes under this, your current product and current use cases. And most of the brands, they get this information, and then they iterate on a new product, or they create a new product after 6 months, and then they do trials with the VIP audience. But like that's the process, and you can use this information to know more about the customer, solve the immediate marketing problems. Those are very immediate short term results you can get from implementing this. And there is always like a product development and long term solution for this. Next is your wow me framework. So once we have our this we know the customer, we have done our understanding. Now it's the time to improve their experience. Now we can improve their buying experience, or their this experience. Now in this we start with on-site. So on-site, like we looked at the quick results, like on-site personalization, who bought this also, you might also like this, and those kind of communication. Then there is always like virtual try-on. So you can have virtual try-ons, personalized recommendations, and also if you have preferences, then we have seen like a better checkouts and like a better search experiences. The customer is looking mainly for this kind of product, so you're trying to highlight that, or like improve that results visibility in the results search area, and those kind of things. Or even you redesign, not redesign, but like showcase a better category page. So some filters are already preset in. So those kind of preferences, if you know the preferences of the user, you can guide them, help them, and navigate them to the right product. And that's the whole idea of once you have that zero party data, the goal is to navigate the user to the exact product requirement or the correct product requirement. Next is the communication. So once we have this, now the idea is to improve the communication side of things. So once we have this communication, so in the communication, it's always like a personalized communication. So we can have a response follow up. So if, let's suppose in the matrix example, who are you buying for and what's the main problem or this thing. Now based on that response, we can have three follow-ups or three customized emails, and we can ask them, is it about this, or like help them with that kind of a concern, or if why people are not converting on your cart. So there can be a price concern, there can be like a feature, or there can be like a size, or like any kind of a question which customer might have just before buying. So those kind of queries, once you get that information, you can automatically like pre-fill your emails with those kind of information, but also you can send a dedicated email around that, or like you can target that customer on the campaign level based on that segment, or if there is a new product launch for that kind of a niche or for that kind of a problem, you can let the customer know, or so those kind of can be helped the better communication. And surprise them is basically to create the actual wow. There is a angle of a rewards, and in the rewards what we prefer is, or like what we recommend is, if we can have something extra for them, or like even if we are giving a like a birthday discount or like anything like that, but the idea is to give it on a their interested product or their like a preferred product range or product problem. So if we have that like zero party information, then we will be able to give them better recommendation or better rewards also. Even with the loyalty program, if they have used their points, or if they have the points needs to be like they need to be converted into product, then or a reward, then also we will know that what kind of reward will resonate well with the user. So this is basically the wow me framework, that we improve the experience on the website, we improve the communication, and then we improve the like whatever we are trying to like wow them on the rewards and the freebies and those kind of things. So this is the broad framework in the zero party data, that first you need to work on the know me side of things, where you need to know the customer, then get, and then wow the customer. So that's pretty much it in this. And if you want to get this, or like need any questions, or if you have any questions around this, or if you need help with your email marketing, you can always reach out to RetainUP. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope this was useful. And zero party data has been there, like there's a lot of buzz in for last 3 years, and I would highly recommend to start with zero party data. Even if it doesn't improve any of the marketing metrics, you will have a better understanding of your user, you will have a better understanding of your product range and how its user are performing, like interacting with them, and it will help you to create a better product, better experiences, and all those things. But still, if you have something, then at least you can analyze that and you can start building on it. So thank you.